Welcome to another episode of our real estate podcast, Hustle and Motivate with Cyrus and Danny.
Brought to you exclusively by the Pacific West Association of Realtors. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so well. How was your 4th of July?
Okay, we had a really great time. We, my husband's best friend's part of some fancy country club up in Glendale.
What?
And so we went there and they just had like buffets and open bar and like this whole area for the kids and like a kids buffet with like mini corn dogs and grilled cheeses. And I'm like, okay, I'm ditching the older parent buffet. I'm going to the kid buffet.
That's where I would have been too.
And the bounce house. It was so much fun. And Claire loved the fireworks. I was a little bit nervous to see like how she would react.
Yeah.
Because she's never seen them before and she loved it. We had a great time.
That's so cool.
We had a really, usually we're at the beach or something, so it's very different than what we normally do. So
it's like an all day thing, or?
It started like at 5. So like 5 until fireworks. We had a great time.
That's so cool.
Yeah. What did you do?
I went to my business partner's boat in Dana Point. Mm-hmm. And then, that's
a good friend to have.
Yeah, great. So I was jumping off of the boat into the water, right? And I jumped off into the water and my Apple Watch fell off.
Oh my God, okay.
And obviously it's on me, right?
Yeah.
So fell off.
I was like, is that a new one?
No, I came up out of the water and I was like, wait, my watch. And I was like, I literally looked at like,
you're like, what am I going to do?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's gone.
Like I lost it, you know? And my business partner's son comes and he's like, what happened? I was like, my watch fell in the water. He's like, well, why don't you just go get it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not that proficient of a swimmer. Sorry,
yeah,
I'll
and then go dive down like,
you know, like no.
I was like, how many feet is that? Like, I don't even like, I can't even comprehend.
So he goes, it's only like 20 feet. And I was like, okay, but like I still can't do that.
Did he do it for
you? So
you?
he goes, do you have goggles? And he gets goggles from the next person over. He dives down. He's like, dude, it's so dark under there. I can't see anything. And the guy goes, the boat next to us goes, I have a tank. Do you know how to dive? Like a scuba tank.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And he goes, yeah, I'm certified. So he's certified for diving. So he has the tank. We leave it on the boat or whatever. And it's just a long line.
Yeah.
Puts his goggles, puts the thing in his mouth, dives under there for like 5 minutes.
And he finds it.
Comes up with the watch.
That is so nuts. And it works totally fine and everything.
Works totally fine.
That's crazy.
Found out that they're rated up to like 150 feet or something like that underwater. So
thank you, Apple.
Yeah, exactly. Lost my Apple Watch, but got it. And then after that, I went to dinner at a bungalow kitchen in Long Beach.
Very nice.
And then went to a friend's like party to watch fireworks.
Cool.
It was a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Actually, like no work calls on July 4th, which was
Love
like
it. I was
really
pretty
awesome.
Silent too, which was really nice because I totally would have picked up the call.
Yeah, I 100% would have. And it was really weird because like I usually do get some sort of calls or texts or something like that. But I didn't, and I think it was probably because everybody was celebrating this year because last year no one could, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's what I did. And then back to work yesterday, and then today now really back to work. Today's like our Monday this week, right?
Yeah,
so,
I feel the same way.
Yeah. But with that being said, I got like a new lead when I was at the 4th of July party. Mm-hmm. And I was wanting to go over follow-up, like what is your system? Like when you meet somebody, like for instance, I met somebody on 4th of July, what do you do after that to set up your appointments? And like, or what do you do? Like what's your process?
For sure. I mean, it kind of, for me, I feel like I think of leads and referrals in 2 very different categories. It completely depends upon how I was introduced to them. Is it someone that is, more random off of the internet, or is this someone that was like, so-and-so, this is Danielle, you have to work with her, like very warm introduction. The very, very, very first thing that I do is I put them in my CRM. That way I always make sure that I can consistently follow up with them. And then I have, I don't want to call it like a drip campaign, but it sets up reminders to me to remember to reach out to them, because honestly, sometimes if you if I don't put them in the CRM, then it's just kind of like a fleeting thought. And then a couple weeks later, I'm like, oh my God, I never reached out to that person.
So did you set up that action plan, or is it like already set up?
I set it up.
Okay. So you have like a, lead goes in, systems tells you do this, do that, do this.
Sure. But I also customize it for every single person because some people are more inclined to text and some want phone calls and some want email. So, but really what it comes down to is I input them in my CRM and then I get consistent reminders to follow up with them until I can set an appointment in order to be face-to-face or Zoom or whatever. But really my whole goal when it is a referral is to, sit down and have that coffee meeting or do something, because I feel like once I'm face to face with somebody and I'm not just like someone on the phone, it's really helpful. However, if it's a lead, like some random person that I met on the internet, I'm very, I try very hard to meet with them in person at a public place first, especially being a woman in this industry. Like sometimes I get random leads that are like, hey, can you show me this house? I'm like, no. I'm not going to go show you some vacant house, but, really once I get in front of somebody, that's when a lot of the real work starts.
Okay, so just workflow wise, because I'll kind of go into what I do. Like I'm pretty much the same start. Like I put it straight into my CRM, and then I have like pre-made action plans. Mm-hmm. So like I literally just like click a button and then it like
loads everything
in there. Is that what yours does? Or,
yeah.
Are you setting up individual, like, I need to do this, and then put the tasks in?
No. Okay. It will automatically go for me.
Oh, yeah.
Once I kind of decide, like, which action plan are they going to be on? Like, if it's someone, like, I feel like it's consistently reminding me to reach out to somebody until I meet with them in person, because I feel like once you meet with someone in person, whether that be a buyer consultation, listing presentation, whatever that it is, everything is going to be different from that point on. What if someone's ready to go next week? What if someone wants to go 6 months from now? So I can kind of put them on the plan of, is this someone that I reach out to every week? Is this someone I need to reach out to 3 times a week? Is this someone who, really isn't ready to go and they want me to follow up with them in a month or two? So it kind of depends.
Oh, interesting. So after you meet with them, then you're changing that action plan to A, B, or C action plan, and then so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. So it's like pretty much the same process that I have, except you're probably in a different CRM than I am or whatnot. So now let's say we meet Joe Schmo at Starbucks for a coffee, and we're sitting there, and what are we talking about? Like buyer referral. Like what are we doing?
How do you mean?
Like what? So I sit down with Joe Schmo.
Are you talking about like what like my buyer consultation would be like?
Yeah, like what's your process?
It's kind of twofold. I mean, I obviously a lot of it is talking about their goals, what their, if it's a buyer consultation, like what kind of house are you looking for? And also most importantly, what is your why behind it? Like, is it really school district because you want your kids to go to great schools, or do you just care about the payment? Because everyone's different. So once you also find out that why during the transaction, or like before they're actually in a transaction, I've learned that that's really helpful for when issues arise, and you can remind them, I know that this is difficult, I know this is frustrating, but don't forget when we first sat down and spoke and you said, I really want my kid to go to a great school. Like this is I don't know, say you're fighting over a repair request, which is, awesome, often happens all the time. And it's like, is this $2,000 worth it for your kid not to go to the school that you always dreamed of them going to? And it kind of like brings them back down,
because it's an emotional process for sure.
Exactly. For a lot of people. So we talk about, the why, what they're really looking for, so I can help set them up with the MLS search. And then of course I always go through the escrow process so they know exactly what to expect. I have a little folder of information that I give them, but I always make the joke to, save to read it right before you go to bed. So it will put you to sleep. Like we don't need to go through this. I know that you have eyeballs, but it's, a lot of times people want, something to take with them. So.
Something to take home is always a good thing.
And then I usually have something in my car too, whether it's, some branded bag or I don't know.
Oh, so you give them a little swag too.
I give them a little snag. I'm like, I have this in my car. Here you go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So and then from there, then you could set them up on, okay, look, this person's going to be looking they're going to be 90 days out. So they're really a nurture lead compared to like like someone ready to go prospect.
Right now. Or sometimes, every client is different. Sometimes I go there having already connected them to a preferred lender, and sometimes I leave there and they're like, you know what, like we're really not ready yet. And then I still say, you know what, you should still probably speak to a lender, because at least you can kind of come up with some sort of game plan. I'm not saying jump in and run your credit, but I have found I have a lot of success when I also connect these buyers with other people in my sphere rather than just them, going off. But like if I connect them to if they're really not ready, or like a credit repair person who I work consistently with, or whoever that it might be, if they are hearing my name from a bunch of different avenues and not just me, that's usually helpful.
Yeah, because exactly. Because then if they don't call you back, but they're talking to XYZ lender and XYZ credit repair person, those people are going to be saying, have you talked to Danielle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I find other ways to stay in front of them besides just my incessant calling and texting them.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I think that's a huge point as far as it goes with the preferred vendors, because I think a lot of people don't take that like very seriously. Like they're like, oh yeah, we'll just send them to a lender, or they don't even mention, oh yeah, call a lender or whatever. But like that's a huge part of my prospecting system.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge part. When I can get my lender on board at the same time, then I know that if they're calling them to prospect them to get a business, I'm calling them. Now I have two people hitting at the same.
Absolutely. And I've also found that it's very important to be a very involved part of that process. I remember actually I learned a very valuable lesson last year when I went to a listing appointment and they had some projects that they wanted to do, and I gave them my contractor's information and everything like that. And I followed up with them a couple weeks later, and they were like, before a couple weeks later, but after following up, and I was like, hey, like, how's it going? Yada, yada, whatever. Yeah. And they said, I'm so sorry. It's not personal. We met with another realtor and we decided to go with them. She just came in and started handling all the contractors and met with them there. And I realized I totally dropped the ball at that moment from that point, because if I had been more involved, instead of just giving them my contractor's number, there's no way that I was involved in that process. So I learned a very tough lesson that time, because I obviously missed out on that listing. But now when I meet new people, I'm like, how can I get them as involved in my inner circle as much as possible? Who can I introduce them to? And like, so I wouldn't like just give them a lender's email, or like start the email and start the whatever. And so now I always did that with lenders, but now I do it with everything. Like even if they want a handyman or a contractor or a credit repair person, I make sure that I'm involved in that process as much as possible so that it doesn't fall through the cracks. Yeah,
I do the same thing. I do, like, let's say, for instance, I have this listing that's coming up, and the seller's mom passed away, and the seller lives in Portland. And they needed to move all the stuff out. They needed to do all the stuff. And he goes, I'm meeting with 3 agents. Like, he's like, he told me that the first thing. He's like, I'm meeting with you and then 2 other agents, blah, blah, blah. And he literally said he chose me specifically because I told him, hey, don't worry about anything. I'll help schedule it all. I'll do everything. I'll make sure the project's managed. I'll send you 3 different quotes for everything. That way you know that you're good. And that's literally the only reason that we got it. But it goes to exactly what you just said. Like, if you're more involved, the people will trust you more, and then takes the headache off of them. Yeah, I think it really comes down to when you first initially meet with someone or talk with them, like identify what their needs are, identify that need, and then find a way just to infiltrate their life in the least creepy way possible. You know what I mean? Like, you really got to strive to show your value, because a lot of times people don't understand why realtors get paid the way that they do. And honestly, there's some people that make the same amount of money as I do, but they're overpaid based on the kind of service that they provide. And so you just have to find a way to find out what they need and to deliver 10 times beyond that. Yeah, that's huge. That's so, because you're 100% right. I get that all the time. Agents get paid so much money, but if you provide the value, some agents do, and some agents don't get paid enough. That is that we might make the same amount of money, but at the end of the day, which side of the spectrum do you want to be on? Yeah. Because the ones who, are, like me and like you, that's where all of the referrals are going to come from, because people are going to understand our value. Yeah, it's a long-term business, right? Exactly. So we've got them now. We've set them up with the whatever they need, value, whatever they need. then now we're on the process of, let's say it's a buyer person or whatever, we're in the process of showing properties, things like that. Are you, and this is, I send calendar invites for every single showing appointment that I do, and like all of this. Do you do that? Or
no, I don't even know how to do like a Google Calendar. I don't like, I accept invitations, but like, I could not tell you how to go on and invite someone to an appointment.
So what's your process? So what do you? I'm just curious because I'm very like, this is like very red. But like so now you have like showings sent. Do you send them like a list of the showings that you're gonna hit, or like how do you do that?
Well, I mean, I usually figure out how involved that they want to be. Are they the type of people that, you know, tell me what they're looking for, and then I decide on the showings, because that happens sometimes. But then sometimes I set them up on an MLS search, and they're like, I put 20 hearts and I'm interested in all of those houses. And I'm like, okay, well then let's go check them out. You know, well, also sometimes you can look on the back end and see if it's a good fit for them or not. Like if, you know, it's tenant occupied for the next year, you know, someone who is ready to move, that's not a good option for them.
Yeah.
And obviously we can't get into every single house that they want to see. But I mean, I don't know. What do you want to see? And then I Google map it. And I'm like, all right, this is where we're going. Meet me here. Hop in my car. Let's go.
Okay, and then they either hop in your car or they follow you, or
depending on what they want to do. I kind of go off of what else other people are comfortable with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I have my giant mom mobile now, so I can pack it up pretty good.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's how you go. So for me, I like set up all of the showings in like a calendar, you know, and then I send them calendar invites.
Sounds like so much work to me.
It's all integrated with my CRM. So like it's very easy. Like I just put the showing appointment because I need it in my calendar.
Yeah.
I am like everything is calendared in my system. Like everything I do. I'm talking about like I'm going to go eat lunch. Yeah. Like every single thing is calendared in time, because like that's just how I function. If I don't have that, I don't know what I would do.
That sounds exhausting to me. So I'm sitting here being like, yeah, I'll meet them for coffee, and then I don't know, I'll talk to them, and you're sitting here like exploding. You're like, this isn't going to work for me.
Yeah. Because like for me, like I'm very systemized in like how it, you know, I flow with it's like going back to what I think we talked about before, but like love languages of like what they like and how they process. Like I will flow with that, but like I will put it into my system. So like, if they like text messages, I will make sure that I know, like, I have to text them, and like, I'm going to follow up with text messages and so on and so forth. But I put stuff in there, you know, like.
So you'll literally be like, showing this house 1:00, showing this house 1:30.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes. You will die when I tell you what I do. It's honestly, your way is probably significantly better. So I take all of the addresses that we're going to go check out. Say there's like 5 or 6 of them. I put all of the addresses on Google Maps and figure out like the best route.
Yeah.
And then I'll just like take a picture of it, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is the route that I got to do for the day. Meet me here at 1:00, and then hop in my car and I'll drive you.
But then you have to. Okay. So
I understand that. I'm sorry. This is hysterical.
So how it works with me is like literally when I'm at my showing before, it sends me a reminder, oh, this showing's coming up. So then I can just click a calendar.
I'm not saying that you're.
I click maps. I just click the maps and it just takes me there.
I don't think that your way is wrong. It just sounds like a lot of work to me.
Yeah.
But in the end, my way might be more work, honestly.
I like the day before, I like look at my calendar, I look at my schedule. So like
I'm like a 90-year-old woman over here, like
map question.
The damn technologies.
Literally everything I do is automated. Like I try to make sure that it's all. That's so funny. I mean, there's also a new app. Also, I got to remember what the name is, but it will optimize your route. So you just put the addresses in.
Oh, it takes me 20 seconds. I'm good with it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
Okay.
Well, all you got to do is move them around, but.
I don't know how to do that at least.
Yeah.
So.
See, I think what I should probably do is find some sort of in between, because as scheduled and regimented as you are, obviously that has brought you a ton of success, and everyone's different. But doing that sounds like a nightmare
will it
for
work
me.
for you? Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think that. I probably would start it, but that's not something that would be sustainable for me in the long run. But I could probably come up with a better alternative than to screenshot my Google Maps route.
Well, also a lot of my like the reason I came up with when I started doing this system is because a lot of my leads were coming from like online lead sources and things like that. So like my whole goal is to keep the appointment.
Yeah.
Right. Because what will end up happening is if I'm showing them XYZ property, like, are they going to show up? Right. And so what I did was I put calendar invites and then I put reminders. So now 2 days before they're getting a reminder, hey, you're meeting with XYZ person at this time. Then
that makes a lot of sense.
A day before they're getting another email reminder. Then 30 minutes before they get another email reminder. So like, it's like they can't say they forgot the appointment.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what was happening before. And I'd like shoot them a text the day before, like, hey, just want to confirm our appointment, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah. And then
never show up.
Don't show up, right?
See, I think that also, plays into where we get a lot of our business from. Like, I don't really do too much like online advertising, online lead sources, like things like that. That's just really not the bread and butter of my business. So, I mean, I would say, in my CRM, it tracks where I get all of my business from. And I think I'm like 98% by referral. Yeah. And so usually people don't ghost me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've never had someone just completely not show up.
Yeah. No, I've had it happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I fixed the thing. And then I'm like, okay, if I could just stay more organized, then it's fine. But then now I do that with everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's a system that works for me.
So then when you like get a new lead or you get a new referral, like how often are you reaching out to them and so what's your system?
So it depends. Like if it's an online lead, like I talked about, like they're hitting, I think it's 14 touches in 7 days, right? Like if it's an online lead, like I'm going to, if they are not calling me back. Now, if I call them and they answer right away, then I'm not just going to call them for no reason.
Hey, what's up? It's been a couple hours. I wanted to see how lunch was.
Just wanted to follow up with you. Like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But
so if they don't respond, you get hit twice a day.
No. So the first day there's 4 touches, and 4 touches as far as like 2 phone calls, a text message, and an email.
Why do you call them 2 times? Assuming that they don't answer.
Assuming they don't answer.
Got it. Like, I was like, we just talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming they don't answer, that's what it is. And then following days, it depends. But let's say they answer on the first phone call. Then my goal is to set the appointment literally right from that first phone call,
absolutely.
Right? Like I don't want to work, I don't want to waste any other time. So no matter what it is, I will set an appointment after it. So if they're like, well, I can't do a showing this weekend, I can't do that, I can't meet this week, I can meet next week. Okay, can we set up an appointment? Well, can I call you after work? Well, why don't I call you after work at this time, blah, 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 right? So I set that in my calendar in my time to call XYZ person at this time.
Does it send them that calendar invite?
Correct, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you think that, okay, no offense, do you think that scares some people away? Because for me, everyone's wired very, very differently. And I guess it also comes down to like what your goals are. Are you ready to, make these moves? Because sometimes I think that people, might click on a link on Zillow to go look at a house when they really have no business looking at houses yet. But like everyone's different. Like for me, if I were to be inquiring about something and then someone was sending me calendar invites like that, I probably would panic.
So my thing is I think it's the title of the calendar invite, right? If I'm like, call to discuss when you're going to buy a house, like, like that's kind of scary, right?
So what would you put in there?
If I put something like a follow up after work, right? Like it's like we discussed
something really, really casual.
Yeah, exactly. We discussed that. Then I just call and say, hey, just want to, blah, blah, blah.
I guess that's true because you are agreeing to the appointment. You're not just saying, oh yeah, call me.
Yeah, and it's just, okay, hey, cool. And what I've found is like, because how I operate is all through calendar, right? So like I'm like very systems oriented. So when I set that appointment, I've seen like I also have gotten on phone calls and people are like, wow, you're the most organized agent I've ever talked to. You like sent me all these things. No. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want to hear, Yeah. But also like I have had people where they're like, hey, you don't need to send a calendar invite for every showing or whatnot. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's the first showing. Just meet me and follow me to the next ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just depends on what people like again. But what I found is, especially for the online leads, in order to keep those appointments and keep them engaged, like those
you have to be pretty consistent because you're not the only agent that they reached out to online.
Exactly.
But what's going to set you apart, because a lot of people aren't going to want to do all the 25, 30 touches that it takes sometimes in order to make something happen.
Exactly. And so lead comes in, talk to them that first call, my goal is setting an appointment. I don't even go into like, I won't even answer a question about like pre-approval or anything. I won't ask those questions. I lied. I will answer the question if it's asked, right? But I want to set the appointment to be face-to-face.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like that's my biggest goal. And then when I meet with them face-to-face, whether it's at a showing for a XYZ property or at a Starbucks to meet and talk about, or at the office to talk about, right? I will bring them. So like, let's say I'm doing showings because it's a different process for each one, but I'll bring them a folder with it's like a buyer information booklet, like the processes and all of that stuff. And then I have buyer tour stuff. So every showing that we have, I print out like the MLS sheet kind of.
Yeah, that's really smart, so they don't feel inclined to take the flyers that are inside of the properties anyways.
Correct. And then I have a notes page after each one.
Oh, so good. Like, so that they could do notes if they wanted to.
Yeah. Hey, this is for you. If you want it, use it. I usually do the stuff on my phone, but I like to always give it to people. It's literally what I say every time. But the whole point is that when I can make that impression, no one else is doing it, right? So like when they get that, they're like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
blah, 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 blah.
Even if they don't use it, you clearly care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like 90% of the time, they ask me, they're like, hey, you don't need to give me those every single showing. And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah,
like, because
cool.
I don't want to print all these.
You know, Save me the paper.
But then some people are like, hey, do you have the papers? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm always on top. So to be honest, like I have like a lot of my tasks and like my calendar setting up and like all of this stuff, like I have admin that like help me do it. Sure. Obviously I'm not just sitting here like doing all
organizing your
like,
calendar all day long.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I would just go crazy. But yeah, I have that system. So then after that, then it depends on what their follow-up is, right? Sometimes I figure out what they want and how they want it, like at the first showing. And then sometimes I figure it out, you know, at Starbucks. It just depends. Yeah. Because with online leads, the biggest thing that we have to give them for value is showing them the property. Yeah.
That actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's, you know, when people are very, you know, when they come in from the internet, they're, you know, obviously online, they're obviously really tech savvy, and they don't really care about meeting for coffee and all of that fluff. They just want to see the house. That's why they did that.
Exactly.
If they were referral based, then they probably would have, you know, asked around to their friends and family who's a realtor that you know. So if you find someone online, it's like you just got to get in front of them as quickly as possible with what they want.
And create the rapport, create the value, and then you could close it, right?
Boom. So easy, just like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
I always say there's 3 steps. It's create rapport, create the value, close. You do those 3 things, you're good.
I like that.
Yeah. So then on a referral, like the guy I met on 4th of July, I will set up like a lunch appointment or a dinner appointment or a coffee or something like that. Like typically depending on what they want, because it's like you said,
it's a lot more personal. Yeah.
It's a more personal thing. And then depending on how they are, like, I don't know if I'll send a calendar invite for them, but I will have it in my calendar. Yeah. Like I will calendar it. Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, that's why I love when we talk about all this, because we learn how each other does things, and certain things are going to work really well for some agents and not great for others. And that's okay, but we can all learn from each other.
The biggest thing I learned is do what works for you and that you're going to actually do.
Yeah, because I will come up with, I'm like, going to leave. I'm like, I'm going to calendar everything. I'm like, Danielle, you might for 2 days, and then you're not going to do it anymore. I know you. Yeah. But I do think that, I could find some sort of hybrid model.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the busier I've gotten, the more thankful I've gotten because of it. Yeah. Like because I do that, or else I would not be able to keep track of what I do, like personally. And then at the same time, like I've also taken so much from like the relationship side of business. And that was a big thing for me, is like, if I'm going to be buying all these online leads, I need to build the relationships, because that's what's going to make the long-term effect, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and so taking it and doing those other little things that create more of a relationship with that client is what's going to keep that client long-term, because the online lead is, like you said, they're quick, they're tech savvy, they want an answer now, and they want to go see the property yesterday, right? Like, so if we can create that.
But they still know people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're going to go and ask their friends about agents, and their friends are going to say, hey, you should be calling my friend. So how am I going to create the value in the relationship that I need to keep that relationship?
Yeah. I think that that's huge, because a lot of times when there's agents who are, you know, more like a lot of their business is run from buying those leads. They're just thinking about where's the next lead, where's the next lead, where's the next lead, rather than cultivating those relationships. So even though you met someone online doesn't mean that they aren't completely capable of sending you referrals for forever.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like,
and a lot of times people don't realize that, and they're just thinking, all right, turn and burn, closed one, let's go.
And that is the same exact thing, turn and burn, right? But that's the big thing, right? Is what did they say? Friends and family, friends and family, friends and family, right? It's like, well, what happens when you run out of friends and family? You make more friends and family, right? Like you just make more, and if I could get more leads in my pipeline and create more relationships, I'm just going to continue to create longer.
Keep it going.
Yeah. So that's my whole goal, you know, but that's my process with the new lead. And I think we're pretty similar, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that you're just a little bit more systematic than I am. But I mean, really what it comes down to is you need to consistently stay in front of people, however that you feel comfortable, but you need to be consistent, and you need to always show up and keep providing that value. It doesn't matter how you met somebody or the way that you run your business. If you don't show them how valuable you are as an agent, even just sometimes that just means showing up, and showing up might be consistently reminding them that you're there.
Yeah.
However that is.
Then you'll close it.
Then you're going to close it eventually. And even if you don't, even if they never, ever, 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 ever buy or sell a house, they know people who are going to want to buy and sell houses. So that's why it's always important to always stay in front of those people.
You're a rock star.
I'm such a rock star.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thank you. I know you're a rock star.
Thanks.
No,
but I think this is probably one of the more powerful podcasts that we've done.
Your brain exploding with all my creative ideas while you're over there being all systematic. Oh, God, I'm over here twitching, thinking about all your systems. Thank you for another wonderful chat.
Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. Make sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Cyrus Andre,
at Danny Femmel, and at PacWest Realtors.
Keep hustling
and stay motivated. We want to remind everyone that these opinions are our own and may not reflect those of the association.